When a game releases for the general public to play and enjoy, reviews from both players and critics start coming out. Most of the time, if it's something good, people will agree it's good. If it's something bad, people will agree it's bad. Mixed bag, same thing. Some people might have different opinions, sure, but the overall reception is given. However, the more the time passes, the different the opinion on the game might be. There are many examples I can dig up, but what I will use, something few people will know about. Wolfenstein The Old Blood and The New Colossus. Now, when Wolf Old Blood released, overall people agreed it's good. It got a bunch of 7s and some negative reviews here and there, but overall, mostly positive. However, you look at it now, and it's popping with positivity, 88%. And recently it's been getting some overwhelmingly positive reviews. Same thing goes with Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. It had a mixed rating on release. The game was lacking in content, had quite a bit of technical issues. The story was worse than the previous iterations, and it did take a risk that not everybody agreed on. Plus, it had no boss fights. However, you look at it now and it's very positive. What exactly happened? Well, there are 3 things that I can put my finger on, so let's start with the most obvious one, the rush to play immediately. On release, people will rush to the game while it is still relevant and talked about, thinking it's going to be something different which does damage to the enjoyment you should be getting from said game. A chill and relaxed experience will always lead to a more positive opinion. My advice is obviously to not buy a game on release just because it's new or it's relevant. There are plenty of old gems out there waiting to be played. You just have to find them.
My question is, why is everyone in such a rush to play a new shitty game that isn't even finished yet, that cost a lot of money, when you motherfuckers haven't even played any of the classics that have been out for years?
A price tag could lead to a lot of chaos. For most of us, $60 is a lot. So if you buy a game on release, you expect your money to be well spent. And honestly, I cannot blame you. No one can. You paid full price. You're expecting something that is of good quality. Then you get, as I previously mentioned before, Wolfenstein 2 on release. $60 for 15 hours of gameplay. And everything that I said before, no bosses, blah blah blah, weak ending. You get the point. Of course, on release, it is hard to ignore content for the game you've bought. You can do it, sure, but for the most part, some people, including me, will go out and check other people's opinions on it. Of course, after finishing the game. Only for them to tell you an issue within the game that you didn't even notice in the first place. And you try to ignore it, but lo and behold, the damage is already done. You'll always see that flaw. And all that you can hope for is that with time, you forget that flaw. This can be a good thing, of course, waking people up to a flaw that is unacceptable, for example, like repetitive content or some money involving things like microtransactions, is good, but it sometimes is annoying. Happened to me with Bioshock Infinite. I didn't mind the currency system within the game until I saw people comparing it to Bioshock 1's, and the difference was clear. Now, combining all 3 things I mentioned, price tag, general opinion, and relevancy, if you throw them out, now you can enjoy the game the correct way. And if you're following me, I think you can see where I'm going with this. This is how people who buy the game later down the line experience it. They manage to grab it for a cheap price, they ignore the opinions on it, and relevancy is obviously thrown out already. And on top of that, I forgot to mention that there's a thing called updates, and unfinished games being a thing. You'll always play the updated version if you are late. So there you go. Conclusion: developers rushing games will always, and I mean always, ruin the experience of the player. Forming your own opinion on your experience with the game is better, at least most of the time, than looking up reviews. DLCs, technical issues, fixes, and updates will split the fan base. We should always get what we need from the first full price tag we paid. And lastly, I know relevancy breeds excitement. Everybody does. But being patient, as cringy as it may sound, is key. So if I were to play Witcher 3 in its release form with the crappy UI, all the bugs and crashes, no DLC, the poorly designed wait system, would I have gotten the same enjoyment as getting the full experience when I bought it in 2016? The obvious answer is no. And with that, I thank you for watching my video. Please share it with a friend or someone who you think might be interested. A sub and a like will always help, and that's it for me. I'll see you in the next video.